Hi everyone, and welcome to another review from Class 47 Peter. Now, it has been a while since I last did a review, but I'm back now, and today I'm going to be looking at an all-new release. And to be honest, I don't think I need to tell you what the model is I'm looking at today, because you know what it is. It's the brand new tooling of the Hornby Class 87, which this model was released just before the beginning of this month, actually. Now, recently I went on a 5-day holiday to Cornwall. And on one of the days on that holiday, I paid a visit to Hornby Model Rail Centre, which is a model shop in Camborne, which is a lovely little town in Cornwall. If any of you guys are ever down in Cornwall, I highly recommend you pay a visit to Hornby Model Rail Centre. The staff there are very friendly and very helpful. The best way I can describe Hornby Model Rail Centre is it's like a trove. It's a treasure trove, basically. You know, there's a lot of stock they've got there. Lots of rolling stock, lots of locomotives, lots of models. So they are very well stocked upon, to say the least. And of all the model shops I've been to, and I've been to quite a few, there's nothing quite like Hornby Model Rail Centre, I'll be honest. And I will put a link to their shop in the description below on this review. And they have a separate room where they keep their... Obviously, when you first enter the shop, you've got all the rolling stock and etc. that they have. But then when you go into the shop, there's like a separate room where they keep all the locomotive models and display cabinets. And as soon as I got up to the Hornby display cabinet, I saw this on display in the cabinet, which the Hornby Class 87 had just been released the week before I went on holiday, which was quite a bit of luck, actually. And as soon as I saw this model in the cabinet, it was love at first sight. As soon as I looked at it, I fell in love with it, and I knew instantly that I had to get one of these, and so I did. I bought myself a Hornby Class 87 in the Intercity Swallow livery, number 87010, King Arthur. And that's not the only thing I bought. I also went on a shopping spree. I bought myself a Hornby Virgin Trains livery DVT, which you will see it running later on in this review when I get this running round pulling some rolling stock, because that DVT is already unboxed, because I've actually filmed that review of the DVT before I've reviewed the review of the 87, even though this review will be uploaded before the review of the DVT. So I sort of reviewed that review first, so I don't have to unbox it later and then put it back in its box to film its review, basically. So as well as buying the 87 and the Virgin Trains livery DVT, I also bought myself a couple of Mark 3s to go with it. I bought 2 Mark 3s from the shop, and I'm awaiting for 2 Mark 3s, which this review is going to be filmed over 2 days. The first day is going to be on the unboxing, and then the following day will be running on the layout, because that's the day when I'm expecting 2 more Virgin Trains livery Mark 3s. So then I'll have a nice rake to run behind with the 87. And before any purists or serious models out there start saying, oh, you can't run Intercity Swallow livery 87 with Virgin Train stock, you can. Because in the late 90s, when privatisation was starting to come in, obviously not all the rolling stock and locomotives were painted straight away into the privatised colours. You know, obviously due to time and money, so they weren't all done in one go, basically. So it wasn't uncommon to see mix and matched coaches such as Intercity Swallow coaches with Virgin Trains livery coaches, or even seeing full coaching sets in Virgin Trains livery and seeing an Intercity Swallow livery locomotive pulling them, because that was quite common in the 90s, and that's something I did see quite a lot of in the late 90s, just before 1999 or 2000, when the Virgin Trains livery had appeared on all the locomotives and stock. And to be honest, I do think that an Intercity Swallow livery locomotive on Virgin Trains coaches, on a Virgin Trains livery set, does look more interesting than having just everything matching. Because, I mean, I have got to be fair, I have got a Virgin Trains Class 47 with Virgin Trains Mark 2s to go with, as well as the Class 31, a Class 33 and a Class 26 in Civil Engineers. We've got some wagons in the Civil Engineers to go with that, so it's nice to have running something a bit different rather than having a locomotive in matching livery, in the matching livery that the coaches are in, if you get what I mean. Because they did run Intercity Swallow livery coaches, sorry, Intercity livery locomotives on Virgin Trains livery sets. It did happen, and also sometime in the early 2000s, a couple of 86s did go into heritage paint schemes. I know one went in Network South East livery, which I saw being dragged by a Virgin Trains 57 through Bescott. One also went in the electric blue livery, and there was even an 86 that was still running around in the Intercity Swallow livery. Although I don't know if that was a repaint. It might have been, or it might have just stayed in that livery, I don't know. Also, you know, you saw things like EWS Class 90s and Freight Line Distribution Livery 90s pulling those sets. So, and as well as an 87 imported book livery also ran on the Virgin Trains set. So, not everything ran in the same livery as the coaches. But anyway, enough with the chatting. I think I've done enough on that, although you can just skip to the unboxing if you wish, if you're watching this. But I think we'll get this model open now and see what she's like. I have got this model out of the box already, though, to test the model, that it works. And it runs like a dream, but you'll have to wait till later in the review for that. And so there's the model in all her glory. I mean, just look at that. So there's the box sleeve and the drawing diagram for the model. Add some brief history on the Class 87, which you can pause and read if you want to. I won't stop you doing that. Then we'll remove the plastic packaging from the tray. And we'll have a look at the instruction manual. Which, looking at the instruction manual, I find just as important to look at everything else in the packaging, including the model itself. And so it's basically the same stuff we've seen before. Lubrication, where to put the oil, removing the body, fitting the accessories. There's a night and day switch, which I didn't know this model had until opening the instructions, so that's interesting. Fitting a DCC decoder, or sound, whichever you choose to fit, and it talks to you about the pantographs, because they do make Class 87s with two different type of pantographs. And it tells you how to raise and lower the pantographs, which you have to do by holding both sides of the collector head and ease upwards, basically to raise it. So I'll put that to one side, and I'll put that in my folder where I keep all my instruction manuals later on. Then I'll slide off the plastic sleeve or casing, and before we go any further, we're going to have a look at the detail parts in the box. So in the accessory bag we have a couple of slim tension lock couplings, which of course are them. We have a couple of jumper cables, and we have some air pipes. And we also have a separate bag which includes two nameplates. Now, I wasn't expecting this model to have any nameplates, I'll be honest, because it's not very often that Hornby do supply nameplates with the model, so that is quite a nice feature. But the nameplates, they're not etched. They just look to be printed nameplates on pieces of plastic. You could argue that they would have been better if they'd been etched, but then I think the reason they've done that is to possibly keep costs down, and I think to make nameplates like this by just simply printing them onto a piece of plastic, I think that's easier to make and cheaper as well, probably. So I can see why they've done that in a way. But I won't be fitting the nameplates on this model though, but you can fit them if you want to, or find some extra ones from somewhere, which shouldn't be too difficult to do, and fit them on the model if you want. Right, so with the detail parts now looked at, we can just finish the unboxing off. Now, when I first opened up this model, the pantograph was taped down and there was a bit of packaging under the pantograph, but like I say, this model has been out the box, so I could test the model so I knew that it worked. And also because I did have to modify some of the bridges on the layout as well, actually, in order to have this model running with the pantograph raised. So that was another reason why I had to run it as well, which is another reason why the model's been out the box. Okay, so the model's out of the box, and so we put the packaging to one side because we don't need that now. And so now we're going to have a look at the model in detail. First of all, I'm going to talk about the weight of the model. It's a very, very heavy model, so there's a lot of weight in this model, so that will mean that this model has lots of traction, so it will be able to pull a nice long passenger train, or whatever you choose to put behind the locomotive. Because all that weight there is to provide the traction. If the model has no weight, there's no traction, and that means it can't pull a train. So it's important that these models have a lot of weight in them as possible, or as much weight in them as possible, I should say, rather. Moving on to the detail now, which we have sprung metal buffers, as you can see. So if you like your sprung buffers, then they'll keep you happy. I, as you all know, don't really have much care for sprung buffers, to be honest, as that pretty much goes without saying. But you know, they're there on the model anyway, but they are made of metal though, and that's nice. And more importantly, the model has some buffers. Moving on to the buffer beam, which we have the holes for you to fit the detail parts into, as well as a dummy coupling hook and the NEM socket there, as you can see. On the front of the loco we have separately fitted small handrails there, which are made of metal, as you can see, on the ends of the loco, as well as the 36 weight jumpers or jumper cables there, as well as the covers there on the front, which have some nice white and red stripes on them, and they are separately fitted, as well as a separately fitted handrail there, which is painted as well on the top of the loco. We also have some nice rivet detail in places, and of course we have lights, which they do light up on this model, I can confirm, which you'll see later when I'm getting the model running around the layout. We have some separately fitted window wipers and glazing in all the cab windows, as we'd expect them to be. We've also got some nice cab interior detail in there, as you can see, and that looks really nice. We have glazing in the side cab windows and the window door there, or the door window I should say rather, as well as some separately fitted handrails by the door there, as you can see. We have the loco's running number 87010 crisply printed on the sides there. Now just look at the amount of detail that's on the underframe there, particularly on the bogies. You've got the footsteps there, axle boxes and springs, and just look at all the piping on the bogies there, which is all painted as well. Not that I'd expect it to have been painted, but it is. And that just looks fantastic. And it actually makes the bogies stand out as well. We have some more separately fitted detail here, as you can see, and painted as well, just under the locomotive body there. And again, more separately fitted detail parts on the bogies as well, and it's all been painted as well, so it looks superb. Just be careful with it though when you're handling the model. We have lots of rivets on the side of the loco, and very lovely textile grills as well, very nice texture to them. So they're really nice. We also have the orange cantrail on top of the loco there as well, crisply printed as well and very finely done, and that looks stunning. Now just look at the detail on top of the loco. I love that this bit has all been painted, as you can see, which looks stunning, but then just look at all the separately fitted detail parts that go on top of here, which have all been separately fitted and painted as well. Even those separately fitted handrails there, on top of that vent of some sort there on the top, and that just looks really superb. And those separately bits of detail there, painted a silver colour, just at the back there, where my giant finger's pointing to. I mean, the sheer amount of detail on this model really is mind-blowing. And there's so much rivet detail on top of the loco as well. Moving on to the pantograph, which is made out of metal, although I believe the top bit is made of plastic. but it is mostly made of metal. And to raise the pantograph, you have to simply, well, you just simply hold at the ends there and simply very gently lift it up. The only thing I will say is though, because the pantograph, it is designed to clip into place, it can quite easily be unclipped, so you know, it's something to be careful of. I did have this previously when I was raising the pantograph, but if that does happen, don't feel put off, because you can just simply clip it back into place again. One could argue it might not necessarily be a brilliant design, but you know, it's not really a bad design at the end of the day, especially because if it's designed to clip into place, it's very easily to clip back into place, so nothing is broken. And so that's a good thing that that's been made out of metal, because had it been made out of plastic, you know, the bits that clip the pantograph into place, they might actually have broken off had it been made out of plastic. So it is quite a good design at the very least. And so now I'm going to demonstrate raising the pantograph. Which you do it like so. Again, as you can see there, this is what I mean, it's designed to clip into place, so it can easily be unclipped. But not to worry, because it can be clipped back into place easily. And so there we are. That is the pantograph raised. And I did have to modify some of the bridges and even the tunnel on my layout to simply allow the model to run with the pantograph raised. But I even had to modify the signal gantry as well. So that's how you raise the pantograph. And I just love how the pantograph's been painted. Even these bits on the end here have been painted an orange colour. And that just looks absolutely stunning, that does. On the other end of the loco, we have again separately fitted window wipers and a separately fitted handrail on the top there. We have a separately fitted lamp iron and a separately fitted small handrails there. The jumper cables, these ends of the jumper cables, they don't have those stripes on them, as you can see, but the covers there, they are separately fitted. Again, we have working lights on this end, and just like on the other end, we have sprung metal buffers, as you can see. Now we move on to the livery application, and the livery application in this model is absolutely gorge. It really is. A very nice even coat of paint and the correct shades of colours as well. And the Intercity Swallow livery is just a beautiful livery. You've got the grey at the top, the red stripe, and of course the white. It really is a classic livery, and like I say, it just looks gorgeous. And I really do love these sorts of liveries, you know, because they really are quite something. You know, there is something about these liveries that I love. I think it's because this is the sort of livery I'd have seen in my youth back in the 90s, which I did see locomotives in this livery just before they got painted in the virgin colours, and in the virgin colours as well. And I just absolutely love this livery, it's just absolutely stunning. We've also got the Swallow logo there on the sides, crisply printed, and the Intercity logo, the correct colour of the font and the correct style of font as well, and that's been crisply printed, and it just looks absolutely superb how it's been done. And of course we have the crisply printed nameplates there as well, King Arthur, and they also look stunning. Moving on to the other side of the loco, and most of the detail is the same, although this underframe detail here is different on this side as it was on the other side, as of course you've got these boxes here on this side of the loco underneath there that weren't present on the other side. But apart from that though, the rest of the detail is the same, although you do have these windows here as well which are exposed, and you can even see the detail inside there as well. I mean, this really is a superb model. No other word for it. Now we come to the running performance of the Class 87, and as you can see, she runs absolutely smoothly. There aren't any grinding noises, stuttering movement, or any rough riding or anything of the sort. She runs exactly how she should, straight from the box. and she's a very quiet runner as well. And like I said earlier in the video, I had to make some modifications to some of the bridges, including this bridge here. I had to modify that. This bridge here had to be modified. I had to modify a bit in the tunnel because the boards at the top were dipping, so I've had to simply raise them up to allow the model to run with the pantograph raised. And also this signal gantry had to be modified as well. It had to be raised as well, again to allow the model to run with the pantograph raised. I have got a video of this though on the Facebook page in which I talk about that in more detail. Now we come to the loaded test run for the Class 87, and as you can see she's pulling the Virgin Trains Livery Mark III's and Virgin Trains Livery DVT around the layout. And doesn't that look stunning? See, this is the exact sort of train I would have seen quite a lot of in my childhood days, back in the late 90s. And seeing this running on the layout just gives me a big grin. It just brings back so many memories. Plus it also shows why the weight in these models are so important. So overall then, the Hornby Class 87 is an absolutely stunning model, and I can't fault it at all. At the time this video has been put out, this is the best electric locomotive that Hornby have made so far, and I highly recommend this model because it's absolutely stunning. There's no other word for it, really. Well done, Hornby, for creating an all-round stunning model, and I think that this model is a worthy contender for Model of the Year award for this year. I'll be very surprised if this model doesn't get one, because it's absolutely stunning. It really is, as you've seen in this review. This review has shown that. So overall then, I'm going to, on that basis, give this model, you know, it's going to be a 10 out of 10. This has been Class 47Peter reviewing the all-new Class 87 from Hornby. Hope you've enjoyed this review. Subscribe to the channel, check out our other videos, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.